Hey everybody, do you see what I see? It's a crayfish down there in my native tank. Now I did go down to the stream this morning and I emptied my crayfish trap. I got 2 crayfish out of it. There were some Creek Chubs in there that I threw back, and then I threw one of the rosy side dace in here. I'm going to guess, I don't see it now, I'm going to guess it's this one back here that is just vibrant red. That one right there in the middle of the screen right now. That's got to be the one I brought home this morning. It is so brilliantly, vibrantly red. But the 2 crayfish I brought home, I did not put in this tank. I put them somewhere else for the time being. I've got other plans for them. We're going to talk about that later. But I was just in here shooting some video. I was just in here feeding everybody. And I go around the room, I do all the flake food, and then I go back around and I throw in all the algae wafers, and then I go around and hit the oddballs where I got to feed them the krill or the snails and stuff like that. So I had gone around, I had done all of the initial feeding of the flake food, and as I was throwing the algae wafers in the tank, I saw some movement down on the bottom. I assumed it was these white suckerfish, and I looked down, and it's not. It's a crayfish. So I thought quite a while ago that we had no more crayfish in this tank. I've not seen hide nor hair of a crayfish, which I guess makes sense since they don't have a hide or hair. But I have not seen any evidence of crayfish. I haven't seen any, burrows or dig outs. A lot of times you can see, like in front of a rock, where a crayfish has cleared out a bunch of gravel and created himself a little cave. I haven't even seen that. I have seen no signs of crayfish. And yet there we have one. So that's kind of exciting. Again, I do have plans, and the 2 crayfish I caught this morning will be not enough for what I want to do. I want at least 3 or 4, and I was hoping, beyond hope, that if I, get in here and really start digging through this tank and start removing some of the larger fish, like this Creek Chub here that's making a nice little appearance for us, I was kind of hoping some crayfish might turn up, and lo and behold, I've at least got one. Not really sure what it's digging around for underneath there, but it seems determined to get underneath of that rock and collect something out of there. Maybe one of the algae wafers got sort of knocked under there, washed under there, because that's what I was in the process of doing. In fact, if you can see these chubs, that one right there has got half an algae wafer in its mouth right now. And then if you see all this activity over here, you see right there the algae wafer that's being passed around. As soon as one drops it, another one grabs it. I have to throw a lot of algae wafer in this tank to make sure, chunks of it get to the bottom, so that my bottom feeding fish, both these suckerfish and the crayfish, get plenty of food. I've also got my big pleco down here, and I haven't gotten down to this end. Normally I dump algae wafers in at both ends of the tank, and as soon as I saw that crayfish moving, I grabbed my camera. So the pleco probably smells the algae wafers in the tank and is swimming around looking for them, because by now I should have dropped some in this end of the tank. It's probably wondering where in the heck they are. So I'll get to him in a minute. Watch a little bit of him cruising around the tank. He is a really, really cool fish. But this video was just a little update on the fact that I at least have 1 crayfish. I'm going to say I've at least got 1 now. We can see that. But the fact that I've still got 1 after all this time, when I just assumed that they were gone weeks ago, means that could I possibly have another one? Sure, why not? There might be another small one in there somewhere. I would imagine that the only reason this one's still alive is because it is so reclusive. These Creek Chubs are just brutal. They destroy these crayfish when they get a hold of them. And I just kind of thought that that was what had happened, and all of the crayfish had been eaten up and were gone, but apparently not. So there you go. Little happy crayfish update. So make sure you subscribe, that way you won't miss what's coming up with this tank, what's coming up with my other tanks. I got a lot of stuff going on in my head right now. We got some changes happening down here in the fish room, and you don't want to miss any of it. So make sure you're subscribed, and you won't. And then don't forget, of course, this one here is my native tank. So thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.